you for another video, and this week I wanted to talk to you about some of the differences I noticed when I was working at a big corporation versus when I've worked at smaller little businesses. And personally, at the time of this video, I have not started my new job yet. However, by the time this video has been uploaded, I will have been starting my new job. And my new job is at another little small local business kind of thing. Super excited to start, super stoked. I feel like it's going to be such a great opportunity, such a good time for me, and it's just really something that I feel is a good move for me, the right place for me right now, and I'm very, very excited to start that. Also, though, I have worked other jobs, obviously. I just quit my most recent job, which was also a small family local business kind of thing. However, before that, my 3 jobs that I had prior were with big corporations. I have worked with Tim Hortons, I have worked with Zayre's, which is through PC, so like Loblaws and stuff like that, and I have also worked with Old Navy, which is Gap Inc. So obviously there are major differences right off the bat with the setting. My settings for my bigger corporation jobs were so much more busy compared to my little family-run local business, because first of all, you're working in a chain store, so everyone's going there. One was a restaurant, one was a grocery store, and one is a clothing store. So they're all very busy a lot of the times, especially with when I was working at Old Navy. I worked in a mall, so it's one of the most busiest malls like ever. I swear to God, it's insane sometimes. And so just the setting right off the bat, because my store that I'm going to be working at, obviously I had to go there for my interview, so I've seen it. So it's a bit smaller of a store in general, just like my other small local business that I worked at. The next thing is just the caring for the employees. At my little local business store that I worked at, I felt actually cared for and actually wanted, because I was one of 3 employees as well as the 2 owners, so 5 of us in total. So I actually felt cared about. I actually got the things that I would need, as in hours, as in responses from people about, well, anything that I would have needed while working there, you know? Whereas when you're working with a big corporation, sometimes it's hard to get the hours. When I was working at Old Navy, I would get the hours sometimes depending on the time of the year. I worked from, I think, October to the following August. And in that time, I started out with like a few hours, and then I got a lot of hours near Christmas time, and then I went home for a couple weeks. And then when I got back, I didn't work again until March, because they kept cutting my shifts because they had so many employees who were needed to get hours, but they still had to distribute the shifts and everything. So it was like, I didn't get near as many hours as I would have hoped to have gotten. Meanwhile, during my entire school year while I was working at the small business, I was getting at least 20 hours a week, which is what I wanted. The same thing happened when I was working with Tim Hortons. Especially since I was a high school student at the time, I didn't have the greatest availability, but I had open weekends, and there were a couple times when I would sometimes only have like 4 hours a week or no hours a week, because once again, they had so many employees. They had a lot of full-time employees who they have to give the hours to because they have priority, and I understand that, but it was still very frustrating because I got a job because I wanted to work. I wanted the hours, I wanted the money to be able to buy clothes, food, whatever it is, you know? And then they're going and cutting all the hours, and then I got a lot of shifts that I couldn't work even though I had my availability. They would still give me these shifts that were during times that I said, no, I can't work that. And so it's just shows like the level of caring that they have for you sometimes. And I mean, that's all on managers too as well, and like who is looking out for you kind of thing, you know? Like, I had a really great manager when I worked, a couple of really great managers when I worked at Old Navy, but it was still like, they can't always promise you everything, you know? Meanwhile, at a small little business, they can usually give you the hours that you want, that you need, because they don't have near as many people and they're not looking at you as just a number. They're looking at you by your name. Another thing too is even just the customers that you get sometimes. I know for sure at Tim Hortons I had regulars that I would see all the time because they would come in and get their coffee, but since it was such a busy workplace, I never really got to know them that well. Meanwhile, at this store that I was just working at, I got really close with a lot of my customers. I made actual like friendships and relationships with them and everything, and we built these foundations of trust and all that kind of stuff. Like, I actually have a customer who told me that he has told me some things that he has never told anyone before in his life, and that makes me feel very like appreciated and wanted and loved almost, because it's like I'm able to give these people the customer service that they deserve because it's not as packed and as busy as a big corporation store is. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not going to be standing there talking to my cashier for like 20 minutes because there usually is a line. There's usually other people who need to get their groceries and stuff. Meanwhile, at the store I was just working at, I was a cashier, but I could have those 20-30 minute conversations with some of my customers if I wanted to, because my store wasn't very busy. There weren't a lot of people coming in, so my customers, who all live in the same area as me, we get to know each other and we get to talk to each other, and it really feels nice to be able to establish that connection with your customers. I have a customer who said if I ever, for whatever reason, get locked out of my house, I can go hang out at her place until I can get in, you know? And it's just things like that that are so rewarding and make it so much more like worthwhile and worth it, you know? Another thing too, this is a very like strange thing, I guess you could say, but like at my store that I was just working at, we allowed people to bring their dogs in, which I absolutely loved, and that's obviously going to be allowed at my next job because I'm going to be working at a doggy daycare, so super stoked for that, super excited, like oh my gosh, it's like literally the most childish job you can have as an adult, but I'm so freaking excited because I'll be around dogs all day, which will make me so happy. But at my small little business, like, we allowed people to bring their dogs into the store and everything, and that just, it was great because, I mean, that's another way that I would connect to my customers, is talking about their dogs and talking about my dogs who live back home with my mom and stuff like that. And it was just a fun little thing. The dogs would come in, so many of them had their owners trained that they had to go to the store once they walked past it, because most of the dogs know that we would give them treats when they come in, and it was a great little pick-me-up during the day, you know? Even if I'm not having a great day, I get to go to work, talk to my customers, see my customers' dogs, you know? All those kind of things that just make it a better, more calming, more inviting work environment. Those are currently the only things that I can really think of comparing a big corporation to a small family business. So I would love to hear some of your comparisons down in the comments below, because I'm sure there's lots of people who have worked in many different jobs just like me. I'm currently going to my 5th job, and I couldn't be more excited. I really feel like it's gonna be a good thing for me. Me and my boyfriend were kind of like starting a new chapter of our life. We decided that our trip would start a new chapter for us, and it really seems like things are going the way that we want them to right now. I mean, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll see if things keep going the way that we're hoping to. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you all today, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye.